You're listening to the VO Life with Troy Holden.
Hey, Troy Holden here, back with the VO Life. It's the survey episode. Yay! Hey, I want to thank everybody that participated. We had over 50 people, almost 51 or 52, and I've got to go in and close it down. You could probably still go in there. I don't know. But I have pulled the data, and I want to talk about that today in this episode of the VO Life.
Hey, it's Jake Sanders from another VO podcast. Are you a new talent and want to ask some questions about voiceover without feeling like a new talent? On January 23rd at 8 p.m., Troy will be hosting a webinar for 20 people to ask anything. He'll do a quick presentation on the business side of VO, then open up the session for some questions. But there's only 20 spots available, so act fast and sign up. The link is in the show notes and on the VO Life Facebook page, or go to Troy's website at troyholdenvoices.com and use the scheduled time page to reach the link. This isn't a sales pitch trying to get you to sign up for a class or workshop or program. Just a free hour of learning about VO. Join us January 23rd for an hour of learning and no judgment. See you then.
Now back to the VO Life with Troy Holden.
Well, as everyone knows, NAVA does a little more extensive surveying than what I was doing, but I wanted to get a feel inside this group what was going on. And although out of 1,500 people, 50 answered, these are probably going to be people that were they wanted to answer and they wanted to let us know their numbers. And I'm really stoked because this aligns a lot with the NAVA stuff. When you look at the the income and all that. But let's just jump right into this. The first question we ask is, how long have you been in voiceover? 36% of the people that answered the survey, 1 to 3 years. That didn't surprise me because we get a lot of newer people in the group, and 1 to 3, sometimes I think, well, this is just, and for me, I went full time in 2022, January 1st, right out of the chute. And, so I'm, this being 25 starting up, I had 22, 23, 24 under my belt. So I'm in the 3 to 5, which is 20%, but I knew we had a pretty high number of people as what we call new talent. So 36%, 1 to 3 years, 20%, 3 to 5 years, 16%, 5 to 10 years, but get this one. 28% of the people that answered the survey have been in VO over 10 years. And that's good because that tells us there's a good mix in the group. There are people that can give you some good advice, and I'm appreciative of those folks. How many are part-time and full-time? I actually thought the split would be wider than what it was, but it wasn't. Full-time was 44%, part-time was 48%. I don't know how that comes out at 92. Maybe some people didn't answer it. I don't know how that works. I don't know how these surveys work, but it didn't come out to a full 100%. So some of you don't know what you are maybe, but that's fine. But it told us there's, close to a 50-50 mix of part-time, full-time people. That's in who answered. Now, when you have 1,600 people in a group, what happens is a lot of people jump in these groups and they don't ever participate or do anything. They're just like, oh, voiceover, that's cool. And they answer the questions and we let them in because they don't seem like they're spammers or whatever. And there's people we've had to kick out. There's a handful, 10, 12 people we've had to boot out. But there's a ton of people in here that they never post. And I don't know if they're reading stuff. We don't know. The number of people who are active, I think, are the main ones who are jumping on the questions. So that was kind of the focus of, knowing these are our active people. The first question became, and this one you could answer choose multiple things. What do you plan on investing in 2025? 71% said private coaching. That's not really a big surprise. 50% said demos. 45% workshops. 38% said marketing, another 38% said gear, and 37% said conferences, and actually no one said the private retreats. They're pricey. But I really thought there might be one or two people who may be doing that. Now let's get into the meat and potatoes. Money. Everybody wants to know. Money. Again, not a surprise. Almost in line with NAVA. 0 to 10,000, 40%. 10 to 20,000, 16%. 20 to 50,000, 8%. 50 to 75,000 takes a jump, 12%. 75 to 100,000 drops off, 8%. 100 to 250,000, 12% of the people that we surveyed are making some bank now. They're breaking the 100K. 4% are making over 250,000, but no one that answered the survey was over 500,000. That still tells you there's 16 out of the 40. That's pretty good. That's pretty good money, and happy for you. But it also points back to the 0 to 10K thing, and that's what you see a lot in the surveys. Around 40% of the people just don't really make much, if any, money at all doing what we do. And then the next question was, where do you get the majority of your work? This one sort of surprised me because 60% was online casting, but we have to remember that includes all online casting, which, Fiverr, Upwork, and if you only made $88 last year and 100% of it was from Fiverr or Upwork, you know what I'm saying? So 60% online casting, not a shock, just kind of surprised me. Direct marketing, 20%. And I'm making, more like 70-something% on mine. So that tells me that a lot of people probably need to be doing more direct marketing. Next was the other category, which came in at 16%. And most of the comments that were in there were production rosters. That makes sense. And you almost, if you went and marketed to get on that roster, that's direct business, right? So you could almost roll that into direct, and that would push that up to 36, and that would make me feel more like that's correct. And then agency was 4%. And I think anywhere from 1% to 4%, 5%, for most people who do a mixed bag is probably pretty average. I would like to do more with my agents. I would like to have more and better opportunities. I would like to book more agent stuff. But you know what? All those rosters were so full by the time most of us got there, if we came the last 3 to 5 years. Those rosters were so full, it's just hard to break in. And what do you mean break in? That was a discussion on the page a while back. I think you have to book to keep booking. You'll hit something now and then is one thing, but if you're consistently booking, there's a reason for that. And A, you're known, or B, you are so unique that you just book often. But I think you have to build your reputation. Your auditions have to get really good. Your agent has to hear them and know they're good and say, "Yep, that's Troy. That one's good. Let's send that one forward." I think it takes time. I just think it takes time, and I'm hoping that will expand for me. The next question was, did you make a demo in 2024? And if not, will you in 2025? Or, kind of saying, did you do one last year? Are you going to do one this year? Yes, I did, or I'm going to, or no, I didn't, and I'm not going to. I know that was kind of confusing, maybe a little bit, but 54% said, yep, I made one, or I'm going to make one, and 45% said no. So that lets you know there's a lot of people pretty complacent with the samples and demos they have, and they're not going to invest, not this year. Next question, do you have an agent or more than one? Yes, 44%, no, 56%. So not having an agent was the majority. A lot of people make really good money with no agent income. I had $180 something of agent income in 2024. for a scratch track I did, and it might have paid $2 something, and they took out their commission, and I got $180 or whatever it was. But what I'm saying is, you don't have to have them. There is enough direct marketing, production work, online casting that you can make some money and not worry about having agents. Sure, we'd like to have better opportunities, but a lot of times, if you have 3 or 4 agents, they're regionals, you're getting the same thing from all of them, and that can be frustrating. So anyway, it's all up to you. I mean, I reduced my agent footprint, but, it is what it is. It is what it is. Next was management companies. No was 80%. No, don't have management companies. 20% was yes. And I know the Siegel group is one that there were a couple people in, so that may have jumped that number up a little. But that doesn't seem to be as popular as I thought it would be. I thought we might have had a few more people who had it, but I don't know. It's hard to say. I was looking more at the, if you're with a larger one and you're paying them a percentage of everything you bring in. And I don't think Siegel works that way. I don't think you're paying them a percentage of everything. I think you pay a monthly fee. So anyway, it's, that one, not really, I guess, a big surprise. Also, the final question was, do you plan to continue to stay in VO? 100% of the people said yes. So you had a group that was dedicated, even though a lot of them were making 0 to 10,000. They said, yep, I'm going to stay in. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to stay in this jog however long it takes to get to the finish line. Tough business, right? All of that stuff, to kind of circle back and say this. Not going to name any names because I don't think that's fair to anybody. But I know someone who kind of just said this past week, I may just throw in the towel. This is not going how I thought it would go. I've been at it a couple years, 3 years. I don't know. And then we saw a post on one group that said me and somebody else have been in the business the same amount of time, and they've booked this and this and this and this and this, and I'm just not getting anywhere. Couple of things from all of that. Don't compare yourself to other people. You're not them. They're not you. You're not doing your business the same way. And let me tell you what none of us know. How hard are they really trying? Are they waiting for it to come to them, or are they out there really being heard a lot and just not getting anything? Sometimes, and I'm not saying in this instance, but there have been times I've had people reach out to me and say, I'm just not this, I'm not that, and I go to their website and I look at it and I listen to their demo and I'm like, no wonder. Without just holding back, your demo is not good, I would take it down. It's not current. The music sounds like you recorded it in an elevator, and you know what I'm saying? It's just crazy. It's crazy. And I don't really know or understand who told them to put that out, and I think that's a big part of it. And did that come through one of these you can make $100,000 things? Probably not, because I think this was just somebody just had the dream to do this and they were trying to do everything on their own. They couldn't afford to spend any money. And then they think, well, I don't get it. How come I'm not booking? All these people in these groups are booking. People that are booking in these groups are busting their hind end. They're either humping it through several ways. They either took tons of coaching and training and went to conferences and they just dove in and they had all this natural great talent they could apply. Or maybe they have been at it a lot longer than you know. Or maybe they are direct marketing geniuses. They know how to reach people and talk to people. They know how to work the room. You may not have that talent, and it makes it harder in this business. You have to be almost everything to do this. You have to be the front office, the accountant, the sales office, the audio engineer, the voice actor, the marketing manager, the IT representative. You have to have all these balls in the air unless you can afford to pay other people to do it, and that's hard to do. It's a tough, tough business. I have been blessed to be able to be in this full time going into this next year. It amazes me sometimes that I am. But sometimes when people tell you you can't, you want to say, yes, I can, and you press forward and you press forward. But there also has to come a time when common sense kicks in and you go, you know what? I'm wearing myself out. I'm distanced from my family. If you're working another job, it's maybe affecting the other job, and that's my main income. Don't chase something just to chase it. Be smart about it. And bless your heart. I mean that in the sweet way, not the old Southern way of you're a dummy. You know, we do that all the time down here. Well, somebody will do something stupid and we'll say, well, bless your heart. I really mean bless your heart for trying hard. And I'm proud of you for trying hard, but I'm also proud of you when you go, this just isn't for me. It just doesn't work for me. It's okay. I've had things in my life it didn't work for me. I was an athlete as a younger guy. You know, I started in baseball, and I decided when I was 12 I was going to go try out for the middle school football team. And I came home from that first day, and I was like, what the heck was I thinking? I was in the 7th grade, and you know, they put us in there, you know, 7th and 8th graders, and I was getting knocked around. I didn't know that much. You know, it was bad. And I didn't want to quit, but I just thought that's not for me. Baseball was for me. And I said, why can't I just do baseball? So I talked to my parents, and, you know, and they said, that's what you want to do is the one thing, that's fine. But they were typically believers in you don't start something unless you finish it. And you didn't finish it by quitting on the second day. You finished it by making it through the whole year, and then maybe next year you didn't go back. But luckily they didn't see it that way either. And I was glad because, you know, I was, I don't know, it was just too much. And something like this can be too much. I got into taking piano lessons once, and I wanted to play, but I found at the age I was at, and I probably wasn't more than 9 years old. I can't remember for sure. 9, maybe 10, maybe 8. I don't know. The teacher was kind of a bully in a way, but the thing was, I didn't realize at that time how it would mess me up to try to learn to read music. And my hands move with it and all. I just wanted to be able to play. Well, it's not that easy. You know, playing a piano or guitar or anything, you don't just pick it up and play it. See where I'm going? Sometimes you just can't pick it up and play it. Voiceover, maybe you can't pick it up and play it. It's okay. There's something else you can do. I just hate for people to feel bad about it or embarrassed about it, you know, and I've talked to a couple people this past year that got out, and I'm still friends with them. I still talk to them. They're still in the VO Life group. They're great people. But because this didn't pan out like they wanted it to and they got out, it doesn't mean something's wrong with them, right? Of course not. And just like what if I have to get out in a couple of years? Doesn't mean something's wrong with me. I gave it my all. I did my best. And if it crashes, I'll get out. That's what we're supposed to do. But these surveys, I think, sometimes can at least give us some perspective that there's a lot of people not making money. And there's a few people making a ton of money, but there's another group that's kind of in that middle in there, you know, and that's where I kind of look at myself. Would I like to be in the 250, 500 range? Heck yeah, who wouldn't? Do I have days or weeks sometime where that would be possible if they continually repeated? Yes, I could. But that's not the reality of where I am and what I do. And I accept that. I'm good with it. I'm good with doing what I do, how I do it, knowing where it can take me. It'll grow. It may not be 25% a year, but it'll grow because as you do well and your name gets around in different production houses and different agents or whatever, and things get better, it just gets better. But on the other hand, if it's a struggle and it's bringing you down and you're agitated with it, you want to talk about it, talk to somebody about it. Go to another fellow VO and just say, what are you seeing? What are you doing? And you may find out how much harder they're working, how much more ability in this area or that area they have. And that's where they're applying a lot of stuff, and that's where it's working out for them. Don't beat yourself up over this stupid thing if it's just not working. There's so many other things you could do. There's so many good things out there in life. Don't let this wear you down. Well, there's not a whole lot else to say. I want to be an encourager to people, and I want them to try. I want them to give it their all. And I'm not there to hold their hand and drag them through. Not for everybody. There's, people that you can help. Some people you can't help. There are people out there who have started up and they worked hard and their business has taken off. There's people out there who've started up and they've just kind of messed around with it and they just kind of hang around the groups and do this and that, and they've never really got going, but they're still out there and they still like the business, and that doesn't mean one day they won't get going. And then there are people out there who get in and they read about it and they go buy a few things and they try to set up a little room and they try to do this and that and they get frustrated and more frustrated, and then they just quit. It's usually not because of lack of talent. It's usually not because of lack of knowledge in some cases, but it usually comes down to drive, determination. It comes down to commitment, a lot of that stuff. But a lot of times, God's honest truth, none of that's enough. You got to have the mix. You got to have the God-given ability to do it, I think, and then the God-given ability to learn how to do it really well. And then you've got to have all the business aspects of it come in with the marketing, the website, everything. Or you farm some of that out and you put it all together. But I'll tell you, tough business. I mean, somebody would say, well, it can't be any worse than having to go out and, right now Landman's a popular show, right? Couldn't be any worse than going out and trying to get a land lease and drill some oil wells. It ain't as hard as that, is it? It just depends on how you look at it, It just depends on how you look at it. Everything's hard, as it should be. Nothing should be handed to you. But anyway, wow. Sometimes it's really hard to be encouraging when you see so many discouraging things going on with folks dropping out gear for sale, equipment for sale, booths for sale, and people just saying, I gave it a shot and it's the best I could do. Yeah. And then you got to be thankful if you're still standing. Hey, this has been a weird one. I know this has kind of been, I don't know, somebody said, what was this? The most depressing VO Life podcast ever. Not trying to make it depressing, folks. I'm just trying to say, sometimes we have to know our worth and know where we stand and make a decision and respect that decision and go on. And all of us need to respect your decision. And that's what we should do and support each other. If you're in here still hammering away, so I salute you. Please keep doing that. I'm going to start trying to get some workshops going here at the end of January. There's so much going on crazily this first week of the year. But I'm really looking forward to trying to do some things to help you guys and to help people, that are in the game, stay in the game, and it not break the bank, and it actually give you some good tools that'll help you do a little better. But I'll circle back one last time. God-given talent is one thing I can't give you. You either have it or you don't. And I mean, I've been in workshops where I knew there were people in there and I knew they could make it. I could listen to them do their first time they ever read in front of anybody. And I'm like, yep, they can do this. It's pretty easy to tell. And there may be 2 or 3 people in there and you're going, man, they're having a tough time. You guys hear that. If you go to workshops, you see it where people are having a tough time. And, sometimes you never come out of that. And sometimes you can be coached out of it. But instantly out of the gate, that really good God-given ability is worth its weight in gold. And I believe that and I know that. And as I've said before, the musicality that you may have in your life, if you've got a musical background, this background, that background, there's so many things come into play. Good Lord, we could go on for hours. But it's cold and it's January and there's more snow coming and, let's try to be more positive and not worry about it. As I look out the window and it's just as gray as it can be out there and the wind blowing, the wind chill at 13 degrees. Let's just warm up the booth, have some good VO, a glass of cognac or whatever you like. I don't even know what cognac is. What is cognac? Anyway, thank you for hanging in there. And, man, do I wish all of you the best. It's a tough business. It's just a tough business.
This has been The VO Life with Troy Holden on Spotify, Apple, Google, and more.